Hi everyone, and we're going to look at how to edit and add a text box. This is great, especially if you want to add an important date or a little quote, something that speaks with the image. So, in order to add this text box, you're going to locate the Tools panel on the left-hand side, and you can actually see here Tools, and you're going to click the text box. So when you click the text box, you actually see this little box essentially pop up on the screen. And to edit this text, you're simply going to click the plus sign, which is here in the middle, and a text dialog box is going to open up. From here you can select your text, font, font size, font color and alignment, all up here. So obviously left aligned, center aligned, right aligned. Here's your size. We've just included really cool typefaces, which is a lot of fun, and we just keep adding more and more and more. So you really can't go wrong here. And then your color, just by clicking, and then you can locate the color that you want. So lots of fun that can be had here. So let me say that I want to type the band's name, for instance. This is the tour to Grahamstown. So let's put that, click in Grahamstown. But perhaps I don't want it in a very long sentence. I actually want it to be under each other. And I'm going to highlight it and click in the middle. So I want it centered. And I think it's quite a dark picture. So let's change the color. And we'll select, let's see. See, there's some nice orange here in this guitar. So I think let's locate orange. And essentially we're locating the color and then the tint and shade. And I think that's a nice orange right there. I'm going to click save. Yeah, that looks great. And Arial would not be a good choice. So let us look at a few fun text and fonts options here. So I've always been a fan of quite plain fonts. I never really go crazy. I suppose simplicity would be ironic, so let's go for it. And while you don't see it here, you will see it on screen. So if I click save, there we go. However, you can see that all I can see is acoustic. And that's because the size of this block is quite small. So what I'm going to be wanting to do is to increase the size by dragging on this size option here, which you can see. So I click, hold, and I drag. And while I do that, oh, there we go. It actually creates a nice size. And I want to drag it here so that it's on the pavement. Especially because it's such a thin typeface, you really don't want to be putting it over lots of texture, because you can actually see how that affects the readability and legibility. So I'm going to stick it down here on this dark tar, and it reads quite nicely. So that is quite nice to be able to use that. And if you didn't like it, for instance, you could always just click the cross button and start again, which obviously defeats the object. Perhaps you just wanted to do some changes, but then bam, click your text box and you can begin all over again. So let's just say, for instance, I wanted to do something a little bit different. Just use the band name. I want it quite big. Let's make it 100. Okay, and let's be a little different and not use what I normally would have. So this kind of looks interesting. And I'm going to use, let's be plain here now. I'm going to use white. Okay. Great. And again, you see I have the same problem, so I just click and drag out. And it loads. Okay. Now, I would like it to be next to it, so I could actually pull this. There we go. So all it needed was that I had to size the box lengthwise enough in order to fit the two words in. So that is great. And now again, I can just place it here. And that looks quite nice. You can actually see how that works. And the other nice thing is that you are able to rotate this type. So here in the inspector, The inspector works on anything that is selected in this window. So for now, I've actually selected the typeface. So I can work on the opacity or the rotation. The opacity is quite simple. It essentially means that I'm making it more see-through or less see-through. So I wanted less see-through because I quite like the white, and I could rotate this, and this makes it quite simple. So let's just say I wanted to rotate it in line with the wall. So it's as if I'm working with this wall, and that's the nice thing about having these essentially ruler lines. It just gives you a good idea of how it's going to work. So if I click off of that, it just shows you that real nice line that's being created there. So you can see a lot of things that can be done with a text box, and obviously you can add more text, less text, overlay text, essentially just keep adding text boxes. So I hope that you have fun with text boxes, and happy designing.